So let me show you what in all the topics we are going to cover in this video. Okay. So first we are going to understand the key points about JWT, the complete structure of JWT. Okay. Next, we are going to start achieving this goal where user will request for any path. First, we have to check whether user has successfully logged in or not. Okay. So this complete goal we are going to achieve. Okay. So now let's start with our coding journey. Okay. So first open the VS Code. In VS Code, we need to open one empty folder because from the scratch, we are going to understand everything. Okay. So go to the file, click on open folder. Now on desktop, I have created one folder with the name Node.js Authentication. So the same folder I'm going to open. Okay. So I'll just search for the folder over here. Node.js Authentication. Okay. So this folder I am going to select and I'll click on open in my VS Code. That's all. Okay. So like this, I have opened one new folder in my VS Code. Now next, we need to create one Node.js project in this. Okay. So let's create it. In our previous videos of our Node.js playlist, the complete basics of Node.js we already have understood. Okay. So I hope you have watched it. So we'll go to the new terminal. Okay. So all other tabs I'll just close. Okay. Here we have to type the command now. Okay. Let me clear first my terminal. Okay. So now type the command npm init. First, make sure node is running in your system. Okay. Node -v. Okay. Node should be present. If node is not present, then download and install the node in your system. If you don't know how to download and install, go and watch my first video of Node.js. Okay. So I'll just clear this. Then we will write npm init -y. This is the command to initialize the Node.js project in our system. And once we write this command, we will be getting the package.json in which the complete metadata of our project will be available. Okay. So now we are going to clear this terminal. Okay. We'll drag it over here. So now let's see what is present in package.json. Okay. As I have told, the complete metadata of our project will be available over here. So here you can see we have a main with index.js value. Means the complete logic we have to write in index.js. If you want to change the file name, then you have to change the name here as well. Okay. So file name is index.js. So let's create one file in our folder index.js. Okay. So this is my file. I'll just close this. Okay. So here we are going to write our complete backend logic using Node.js. Okay. So before that, as we are going to use the Express to create the server, okay, so that's why we need to install the Express as well. Node.js with Express framework we are going to use to build the backend. So I'll just write npm install Express. Okay, so let it install the Express. The database which I'm going to use is SQLite, and later I'm going to replace it with MongoDB. Okay. So as first I'm going to use SQLite. So I'm going to install SQLite as well over here. So just write npm install SQLite, and later we will write npm install SQLite 3 as well. Okay. So I'll just write npm install SQLite 3. So you can see SQLite 3 also got installed over here. Okay. So now it's time to clear the terminal. Okay. So let me show you what in all the package we have installed. If you go to the package.json under this key dependencies, you will be getting all my modules packages, whatever I have installed. Okay. So here you can see Express, then SQLite, and then SQLite 3. So you have to write npm install Express. Instead of install, just write I. npm install SQLite, npm install SQLite 3. Okay, so all the required dependencies we have installed. So now we'll close this. As we are going to use the JSON web token, so we need to install the JSON web token as well. So just write JSON web token. The meaning and all, everything we will understand next. First, let's install it. Okay. Yeah, we install it. We'll clear it. Along with that, we need something called as bcrypt as well. So let's install bcrypt. Okay. I will explain all these packages next. Okay. So install bcrypt as well. Okay, done. We'll clear the terminal. We need nodemon as well. So just write npm install nodemon, node monitor. Okay. So let it install end to end. Yeah, done. So I'll clear the terminal. So now again, if we go to the package.json, you can check in package.json. First we install bcrypt, then express, JSON web token, the nodemon, SQLite, SQLite 3, all the dependencies installed, and these are the respective versions of those dependencies. Okay. So bcrypt we installed of this version, like that it is. Okay. So now we'll close this package.json. Now it's time to write our main logic. Okay, so let's first start the server. I'll just write nodemon index.js because our file name is index.js. Node monitor I am going to use because I no need to restart my server again and again. So yeah, we have executed this index.js file. Server only we have not created. So let's start creating it. I'm going to use the syntax of common JS only, not the modern JS. So first we will write it here. Express, variable name express is equal to require from express. Okay. Next, we are going to import bcrypt from the package bcrypt. Okay. Next, we need the JSON web token. So we'll declare one variable name like JWT, and in this, we'll import the package JSON web token. JSON web token. So we have installed the Express, we imported it, bcrypt we imported, JWT we imported. Okay, what else? As of now, we will import this much. Later, once we introduce the database part, then we will import the SQLite and SQLite 3 as well. Okay. So now let's understand how to generate the JWT token. Okay. So for that purpose, I'll just declare one variable. Let's say the variable name is client token. Okay. I'm just generating one token. That's all. Why I'm generating token, how we are going to use it for our authentication, registration API. I'll tell you everything step by step. Okay. So please have a patience. So we'll declare one variable. We have one method called as sign method. Okay. JWT.sign is used to generate one JWT token. So I'll just write generate JWT token. Okay, which method we have to use? JWT sign method to generate the JWT token. Once we generate the token, to verify the token, to verify JWT token, we need to use JWT dot verify method. Okay, so JWT dot sign method to generate the token, and JWT dot verify, this method is used to verify the JWT token. So once it will verify the JWT token, it returns either true or false. It will check whether the token is valid or not. So here I'll just write result variable like this. So now what is the meaning of this? Let's understand what is the meaning of this JWT token end to end and how we are going to use it. Okay. So as of now, I have written only this much logic. You will be getting error because we have to pass some parameters here in the sign method, in the verify method that we have not passed it yet. Okay. So we'll pass next. So in the sign method, first I'm going to pass some user data. Let's say the user ID or username I will pass. Username is, I will write it here Priya. That's all. Plus I will give one secret key ABC. Okay, so done. So whenever you want to create one JWT token, you have to give the payload, means the data which you want to store inside the token, and one secret key you have to give. Why we have to give secret key, we'll discuss about it. Okay. Next, whatever the client token it has generated, let's print it in the console. So I'll just write console.log print the client token, okay, which we have generated by using this JWT.sign. Okay. Later we will learn how to verify it. I'll just keep this in comment. Okay. Next, you can check here. I got the JWT token. Then this is how we generate the JWT token. What we have to do? We have to just write JWT.sign method. Sign method will accept two parameter as of now. We can pass many parameter. We can write it here. This token will expire in 1 hour. That parameter also we can write it here. But as of now, only two I have given. First one is payload and second one is secret key. Okay. So by using this two, it has generated one token for us, and that token is present in this client token variable. Okay. So now let me copy this token. See, I'll just copy this JWT token. We'll go to the browser and just search for JWT token. Just write JWT token. Okay, you will be getting this website jwt.io, and here we are going to paste that token. Okay, that's all. So now you can see inside your JWT token, three things are present. First one is header, in which the complete algorithm will be present, which algorithm it is using to generate that token. Next, the user data which is present inside the token. Username tree I have given, right? Last is secret key. As a secret key, what we have given, I guess ABC we have given. See, it is showing this is the secret key of this token. So inside this token, three parts will be there. You can see the first part will be the header. The second part will be your user data, this. And the third part is nothing but your signature, which got created by taking the reference of your secret key. Okay, in detail with the help of presentations. Next, I'm going to explain this. If you are not understanding anything, no need to get panic. As of now, you just follow these practical steps. Whatever I am typing, you also type it, verify the output. That's what you have to do. Okay, for next few minutes. After that, all the things will start making sense. Okay. So successfully we have generated one JWT token and we have experimented as well. So now let's remove it. Now how we are going to use this JWT token, let's understand it. How to generate it, that we understood, that we have this JSON web token package. Inside that, that package we have imported. Inside that we have a JWT.sign method and .verify method. By using them, we are going to build the authentication part. But what is the flow of this authentication part? Let's understand it now. Okay. So listen very carefully because I'm going to explain the complete logic of our authentication part of project. Okay, so let me drag the video over here. Yeah, done. So now let's say this is our database. Let me drag it this side. Okay. Inside our database, of course, the valuable data will be present of our application, right? So now let's say user is requesting for our data. User wants to access our data. So user will send the request, correct? So when user is requesting for /book/, let's say the type of request is get. Okay. We should not return all the data from our books table directly. So first we should check, is this user logged in? If yes, then we will return all the book data. If no, we are going to send one warning message to the user that login is required to access the data. This is what we want, correct, right? So let's now learn how we can achieve this, okay? So first we have to display one registration form for the user, because user can log in when user will first register. Without registration, how user will log in, correct, right? So first user has to register for my application. Okay. So for that purpose, I will create one table in my database with the name user. Okay. In my registration form, I have displayed three input field. First is username, then password, and then city. So user will enter the user data and user will hit submit. As soon as user will register for my application, I will check whether this data is valid or not, and user will be successfully registered for my application, correct? But if you want to design this form, designing form is a part of front end, right? So front end we are not understanding, rather back end we are understanding. So that's why I'm going to make use of this Postman tool. Okay, so in Postman, what we will do, we will decide one path. See here, if the user will enter /register/path, then we have to send this data in request body. So instead of sending the data in the request body via this form, I will send the data directly in the request body using the Postman. So your Postman will act like a client, and along with the request, we will send this data also. Okay. So do remember, whenever we are submitting any registration form after adding our data, one post request will go to the server, and all the data which we have given in this input field will be attached in the request body, correct, right? So that's why I have selected the type of request as a post, and in the request body manually we will attach the data. We will not collect from forms, because forms is the part of front end integration. We need it over here. So that's why our Postman will act like a client. Okay. So now one user is trying to register for my application, because path is /register/. So if user wants to register for my application, user has to send the data to me, right? So in the request body, user is sending the data, client is sending the data. So where username is Priya123, password is coders, and city is Mumbai. Okay. So now once user will send the request to me for registration, first I have to check, is this username already present in my user table? Check, is this username already present in my user table? No. If it is present, I will send one error message to the user. You can consider the example of your Instagram also. You might have created your account on Instagram, right? So Instagram will give you one registration page first, correct? There we will enter one unique username, our email address, phone number, right? So once we hit submit, Instagram server first will check whether the username which you want is already taken by someone else or not. That Instagram will confirm first. If the username is already taken by someone else, Instagram server will show one error to you that this username is already taken by someone else. You try it out with some other username. The same thing we are going to do over here. When user is trying to register for our application by sending this data in the request body, first we will check, is this username already present into our registered user table? If yes, then we will send one warning message to the user that user with this username already exists. If no, let's say that username is unique, then what we will do? If no, then we will store that password, username, password, city, the complete data which user has used to register. We will store it into our database like this. See, Priya123, we will hash the password. Hash password means we will secure the password. Nobody can read the password. Okay, hashing means what? I'll show you next. Okay, please wait for it. We will store it into the database and we will send one success message to the user. What message? That user registered successfully, means registration is completed successfully. This is the flow which we are going to follow. So let's start building this registration API. Later I will show you where exactly the JWT means JSON web tokens are required. Okay. So as of now, let's first build this complete register API. Okay. So let's go to the VS Code. Now in VS Code, we already have imported JSON web token, bcrypt and express also. So let's create the server first. Okay. So I'll just write it over here in comments, creating server. Okay. How to create the server? We'll declare one variable app and we'll create one express instance. That's all. So server is ready now. So now we have to start the server also, right? So your app means your server will listen the incoming request and server is running on port number 3000. Once the server will get start, we will display one message in console, that console.log server started. Okay, we'll just write it like this, server started on port 3000. Okay, like this we will write. Actually, this port numbers and all we have to give in .env file. Those points we'll learn in our MongoDB plus Node.js video, not here immediately. Okay. So as you can see, I am getting the message server started on port number 3000. Make sure your server is running. If you want to break the server, if you want to stop the server, Control C you have to press. You can see I have stopped the server. I will clear it. Restart the server by writing nodemon index.js. That's all. Okay, server started. You will be getting the message server started on port number 3000. Okay. So now what next? Next, we have to start building the APIs now. Okay. So the API which I am going to create is register API. Okay. So let's create it. I will give here heading as register API. Okay. So I'll just drag and drop it over here. So now in register API, first we'll open the Postman. We'll make our request ready. Go to the Postman. It might take some couple of seconds in my system to open the Postman. Okay. Let me try it out. Okay. So I have opened my Postman over here. Okay. That's all. So the type of request will be post because we are sending some data in the request body. And path we will give as register/register. Server is running on port number 3000 in my same local system. Okay, so localhost 3000 and the path is /register/ type of request post. We'll go to the request body. Okay, JSON data we are sending. Okay, so we'll select the JSON here. So I have given username. See in this brackets, let me erase this. Take the curly brackets. JSON data we have to pass, right? So keys must be in string. So here we will write username. Okay. What is the username? I'm going to give the username as Priya. Okay, that's all. Next, I'm going to give the password as well. Password. P in lowercase, I will give password. And value for this, I'm going to give as coders. Okay, this is the value. Next, I'm going to accept the city also. Okay, city. And here I'll just write Pune. That's all. So this is my data. So I want to request for the application and this is my register API. If I send the request, so first it has to check whether this username already present in the database or not, and accordingly it should work. Okay. So don't hit on this send button because we have not written the logic yet. So request is ready. So let's go back to the VS Code and let's write the logic. Okay. So to save that data which is coming from this incoming request, this data into our registered users table, first table we should have. So let's create the table into the database. Okay, so we'll go back here. We should connect with that SQLite database first. So I will create one file here, okay, with the name my data dot db file. Any file name you can give, as SQLite is file based database. So you no need to install any separate software. Okay, done. So now we'll go over here. Control C, stop the server, clear the terminal and type SQLite 3. What is the file which we have created? My data.db. So just write my data.db. So inside this database, we will create one table. So type one SQL query, create table. The table name we will give as user. Inside this, we will be having two columns. Three columns. First is username. Okay, data type I am going to use as a text. Next, password. Same data type text I will use. Username text, password text, and next I am going to use the city with the data type text only. Okay, done. So table created really, let's see. Just hit dot tables. Okay, so it is showing user table created. If you want to check the schema, you can write dot schema, show the schema of what is a table name, user table. So this is the complete query got executed. Now table is ready. In this table, we have to save the registered users details. So just write dot exit. Okay, done. Clear the terminal. So now we will again start the server nodemon index.js. Okay, server started. We'll drag and drop over here. So now we'll create the API, register API. So if the type of request is post, yes, type of request is post. If you check the postman, the type of request is post. And what is the path? /register/. Okay. So we'll go to the VS Code and we'll give the path /register/. Okay. Then this is the handler function. Okay. This handler function will accept the incoming request and will return the response, HTTP response. Okay. So now whatever the request object is coming, in this request object, what we have? In this request object, dot body is holding the complete user data with the data which user has entered in the registration details. Okay. So the same logic will write, go inside this request object and get the value of request body. Okay. So now in request body, multiple keys are present. Correct, right? So let's write it, destructure that request.body object. So username, next we have a password and next we have a city. That's all. So now what will happen? As a username, what user has entered? Priya. Correct? Password is coders and city is Pune. So this Priya will come and sit in this variable. Coders is present in this variable and city Pune is present in this variable. That's all. So now before we save the data into that table, user table, first what we have to do, we have to check whether user with that username already present in user table or not. Okay. So now I want to read all the data from my user table. So I will create one API to read all data from registered user table. Okay. Okay. We will create one API to read all the data from our registered user table. Okay. So let's create it. App.reading the data means get type of request. If the path is slash, let's say show users slash, okay, then this is the handler function which will handle this path. Okay. So now inside this, we are going to write the logic. We will accept the incoming request. We will send the response. Okay. So now first we have to connect with the database. Okay. Because we have not connected with our SQLite database, mydata.db file, right? So let's create one connection with our SQLite database, which we already have discussed in our previous videos. Okay. So let's do that. First we have to import open method, which is required from SQLite package. So I'll just write SQLite. On the next line, we need SQLite 3 driver also. So that package also we will import SQLite 3. Okay, done. So we have imported open SQLite 3 driver is also done. Now next we need a path module also, which is already present in the common JS. Okay, so path also imported. So first we will initialize this path variable, okay, where our database is located in this file structure. That path we have to copy. So here I'll just give in comments db path variable we have to initialize. So I'll declare one variable with the name my db path. Okay. So now we will use this path module dot join. We will target the current dir name. Okay. So how to target the current dir name? So just write double hyphen dir name. So this will return the current directory name. Okay. That's all. So this is the first parameter which will return the current directory name. What is the second parameter? Second parameter is the name of your file. What it is? mydata.db. Okay. So mydata.db. So what will happen? Path.join will give you one path separated by slash. Okay. So what is the current directory name? Current directory name is Node.js authentication, right? So Node.js authentication slash inside this mydata.db. So this path will come into this variable. Okay. So let me show you where we have learned this. So yeah, here. This is the logic to connect with your database. Okay. In our previous videos, we have discussed about it. Okay. So let me show you how it works. We created the server, right? So now to use this DB, first we have to connect with the database, SQLite database. So we will initialize one DB variable with the null. We have imported open and SQLite 3 driver already. We have initialized this mydb variable. Our variable name might be different in the code, but path.join will actually return the path of your directory. Now here goodreads.db I have given, but in our code mydata.db it is. And it generates the path like this. See, mydb path is holding my app slash goodreads.db because second parameter is goodreads.db, correct? And now we are going to initialize this database by using the open method. Okay. I hope you have revised my previous sessions. So now, yes, so DB we have initialized. Now let's connect with the SQLite database, connecting with SQLite DB. Okay, so let's start. So first we will declare one variable, let's say DB with the value null. Inside this, we are going to return the connection object. Okay, so now we will give one function. Let's say the function name is initialize DB is equal to, we'll give one function, just a minute. Yeah. So now inside this function, we are going to write the complete logic to initialize our DB. Okay. So this function will be asynchronous function. You can use the arrow function syntax also over here. That is also totally fine. Okay. Okay. So this is my asynchronous function because asynchronous task I am going to give in this. Okay. So now DB is equal to, we'll wait over here. We'll use the open method. Inside open method, we'll give the file name and the driver. So now where the file name is present, this is present in this mydb path variable, means where your database is located. And the second parameter is the driver. And the value will be SQLite 3 dot database. Okay, yeah, driver is ready, done. So this will create one connection object with your my data.db file. The path is present in this variable, correct, right? And the connection object is present in the variable db. Okay, that's all. So on the next line, on console, I'll just print one message, console.log database connected successfully. Something like this I have displayed over here. Done. So now we have to call this function as well, right? So I'll just copy this and I'll paste it over here. We have called this connection. Okay, we have called the function. So this will create one connection with the database. Okay, so our server is already running, I guess. If no, just run it. Nodemon index.js. Okay, so now we'll go over here and now it's time to observe what output we will get it. Okay. So you can see over here, I got the message server started on port number 3000 and database connected successfully. Means we have connected with the database successfully. Now whatever the operations we want with our mydata.db, we can do that now. Okay. So connection is succeed. So now let's move towards the next. Let me show you the complete code. These all are the import statement. Here we have initialized the db path variable. Here we have successfully connected with our SQLite database. Here we created our server and we have started the server. Okay. Next, here our register API we are working on. Okay. So before we register any user, first let's check what data is present in our user table. Actually nothing is present, but then also we will check it once. Okay. So if the type of request is get and if the path is show users slash, then we will execute one query db dot what db variable is holding the connection object with this my db path. My db path is holding my data.db ka path. So basically we are telling my data.db. db means go inside this my data.db. Okay, and get all the data after executing this query. Which query? Select everything from user table. Yeah. So it will execute it. This is a synchronous function. Why? Because this might take some time to fetch the data from the database. Okay. And all the users data it will store into the users variable. So as a response, I'm going to send all that users data. So let me check how many users are present in my user table. Okay. So let me drag the video over here. Yeah, done. So I will save this code. We'll go back to the postman. We'll change the type of request as a get. If the path is slash users slash, we'll send the request. Sorry, the path is slash show users slash, correct, right? We'll send the request. Now you can see I'm getting one empty array. Body data and all, nothing is required as of now because we changed the request. So empty array I'm getting means as of now for my application, nobody has registered. Okay. So now let's create the register API. First, we will complete this register API and then we will check again all the data from the users table. So now if user wants to register to your application, they will request for which path? They will request for slash register slash, correct? And the type of request will be post. And in the request body, I'm going to give the data by using which I want to register for my application. Okay. Actually, this all data comes from the front end, from the forms, but forms we don't have. That's why we have added over here. Okay, and this is the path of registration form. You can assume that. Okay. Later, we will learn how we can integrate our front end and back end both. So let's complete the back end first. So in the request body, user is sending the data. We have destructured the request object here. So before we save all this data in our user table, first check user with this username already present or not. Okay. So let's check. How to check? Very simple it is. We'll take one SQL query. What is the query? We'll just write select all the data from user table wherever username is equal to this username, this. Okay, if username is equal to username, I'll just write username. This is in string, so just wrap it into double quote and this is the closing of backtick. So this is the SQL query. Okay, So basically what we are mentioning, go to the user table and check user is trying to register with the username Priya. Now you only check in the user table here in the response, is there any username present already with the name Priya? There is no username because it is empty entirely. So your variable, this, once you execute this, we will save the data into one variable. That variable will hold nothing because there is no user present with the username Priya. So let's first execute this query against our DB connection object. So I will write get all the data after executing this SQL query. This might take some time, so I will use await over here. Await you should use in the asynchronous functions only. Okay. And we'll save that data into one variable. Let's say variable name is data only. Okay. Or we will give the variable name as found user. This is the variable name. In console, if you want, you can print it out, console.log. I'll just write it here. Found user variable. Okay. So I'll just save this code. So if user is trying to register with the username which is already present, that we have to avoid it. So now what we are doing here, we are sending some data to the register API. So data will come here in the request.body. We have destructured it. What is the username? User is trying to register with Priya. Okay. So Priya is present in this username variable. So I'm saying go to the user table, check is there any username matching with Priya? If yes, execute that query and save that user into the variable found user variable. So let's do that now. I will send the post request. Request send. Internal server error we got. Let me check what is this error all about. I'll just go over here. Yeah. So I guess we have to start the server. Let me check what is the error. Okay. Okay. So now from incoming, some data is coming, but to pass the data, because data is coming as a JSON string, we have to convert it into JavaScript object. So JSON string can be converted into JavaScript object with the help of express.json, right? So let's use that express.json over here. App.use middleware function I will use. Okay. And here we have to write express.json because incoming request data is in JSON string. To pass it into JavaScript object, we have to use express.json. Otherwise, your request body will be considered as undefined, which we already have discussed in the previous sessions. So now I'm going to send the request one more time. Yeah, I have sent the request. So now come back over here and check. I'm getting undefined. Why I'm getting undefined? Because you have mentioned print found user variable. So there is no user present with the username Priya. This is how it returns the output. Okay. So if found username is undefined, means there is no user present with the username Priya. Okay. So the same logic I'm going to use over here. If whatever is there in found user variable, if it is matching with undefined, then if it is matching with undefined means there is no user present with the username Priya. So let's allow that user to register for our application and save his or her details into our user table. So in that case, I'm going to again initialize one query variable. What is the query which we have to execute? This query, insert into user table, and values. We'll give the values over here. Values for username column, values for password column, and values for city column. Okay. Okay. Insert into user table and values. Let me just copy this part because values, I'll just copy this part. Okay. So insert into user, I will mention all the column names first. Okay. Then we will mention the values. Okay. Values. So now inside this, we have to mention the value for first column. So first column value will come from this variable because in this variable, all the data which user is trying to use to register, okay, that data is present. So in username column, this value should go. So inside this, I'll just write username. Next, password we need. So I'm going to just write the password. Okay. Next, we need the city as well. So I'll just write it over here as a city. Okay, that's all. So this is the username, this is the password and city. So insert query end to end, I have typed over here. This is the complete insert query. So if user with that username is not present, if found user is undefined, there is no user found in the database with this username, then execute this query and whatever the details user has used to register, insert it into my user table. So this query now we have to execute against this DB. So I will use run method and I'm going to pass this query variable over here. So once it will insert the data, so I'll just declare one variable inserted data like this. Okay. And as a response, I'm going to send one message like this, row inserted. Okay. Or user registered successfully. User registered successfully. Okay. And the ID which server will give you for that new registered user, that ID also I want to return. So here I'll just write what is the ID? Inserted data dot last ID variable. Sorry, last ID we have to use. Last ID property returns the ID which server has given for the newly inserted row. Okay, that's all. So done, we'll save this code. So now we'll try to register for our application. Let's try it out. I will send the request. Okay. See, as a response, I got user registered successfully, but ID, instead of ID, I got something called as undefined. So let me show what happened. So last ID, we should use like this. Okay, my bad. So let me just fix that error. Sorry, not error, but we are getting undefined here because we are executing the query here, but we are not waiting over here. Wait here to execute the query and then only return that ID which server has given. So await is missing over here. That's all. So we'll just write await async we already have used. Done. So let's try it out with the new user registration data. So now we will try to register with the username. Let me give the username as a Pooja and password I am going to give as Pooja at the rate 123. Done. City I'll keep as it is. I will send the code. Now you can see user registered successfully. Again ID I got undefined. So what mistake I did? See ID. D should be in uppercase. My mistake I made it in lowercase. So I'll just save this code. Okay. Now again one more time I have to register for my application again with the new username. So this time I'm going to pass as let's say Rakesh like this. Okay. I will send this request. Yeah, so successfully I got the ID given by the server over here. So 3 users registered for my application, right? Priya, Pooja and Rakesh. So for Rakesh, the ID, user ID will be 3. Have we decided user ID column? No. So server will give by default the ID. So if you want to check that ID given by the server, then you have to make use of this last ID property. Okay, that's all. So yeah, so let's see how many users registered for my application. So we have to just send the request for the path. What is the path? Slash show users slash and the type of request will be get. So let's check how many users registered for your application. You can see Priya registered for your application, Pooja and Rakesh registered for your application. But if you check carefully, their passwords are visible to us. This I don't want. I want to secure the password. I want to hash the password, then store it into the database. So there your bcrypt comes into the picture, which we already have imported over here. You can see bcrypt we have used. So now what we will do? If a found user is equal to undefined, if user with that username is not present, then we are inserting these values, right? So before we insert the value, we'll declare one variable with the name hash password. Hashed password. This variable name I'm going to give. So we'll use await over here. We'll go to the bcrypt dot hash. This is the method we have to use. Bcrypt dot hash. What you want to hash? Whatever is present in password variable and salt round is 10. 10 is the standard salt round. Salt round means I am saying secured my password. Where the password is present in this variable. Take this password priya@123 or pooja@123, secured it. Salt around 10 means you can assume it like 10 lockers it will take, one inside another, one inside another, 10 times it will take 10 different lockers. And in that your password will be secured. So that's what we call it as a salt around 10. So if someone wants to see your password, 10 lockers they have to open one after each other. Okay. So this is how your salt round works. So now hashed password will come into this variable. Okay. So this password I don't want to save it into the database. Rather, hashed password I want to save it into my database. So hashed password. So let's see how it works now. I will go to the Postman. Now one more time I want to send the request for register API. My user want to register for my application. Okay. Type of request is post. One more time user is filling your registration form. Like that we can assume. Okay. So this time, let's say Akash is trying to register for my application. So this is the name of username and the password is akash@123. City Pune, I will keep it as it is. I will send the request. Okay. So I'm getting the message user registered successfully and the ID for Akash is 4. Okay. I want to check my all registered user data. So I'll just write show users and the type of request is get. We'll send the request. Now you can see we got Priya, Rakesh and Akash also. If you check the password for Akash, is it readable? Is this the password for Akash? No, we cannot read it now because it is secured. This is what we call it as a hashed password. Nobody can hack or nobody can read the password of Akash. Only Akash knows his password. Okay, this is how this hashed password works. So now successfully user can register for our application. They can submit the forms and their passwords will be hashed. Okay. So now let me again try to send the request to the same. So now user with this username is already present in my database, right? So I will select the post request, registered. Okay. So again, I am trying to register for the application with the same username Akash. I will send the request. So now what is happening? Nothing is happening. Why? Because you have not handled that condition here. If user is not found in the database, okay, we will allow him to register for the application. But user with that username already present, then in the else part, we have to send the error message to the user. So we will write response.send. One message we will display like user with this username already present. Try with different username. Like that, one message we have displayed to the user. So now let's try it out. I will save this code. We'll go back to the Postman. Again, I'm trying to register with the username Akash. We'll send the request. Now you can see user with this username already present. Try it out with the different username. Properly we are getting the messages. So backend we are designing. Once the backend is completely ready, then these messages we will send it on the front end. So on form, below the form, these messages will be displayed. User with this username already exists. Okay. So we are testing by using Postman at backend. Later we will integrate our front end part. Okay. So register API end to end is ready. Now it's time to work on the login API. Okay. So let's start. So let me show you what is the plan for our login API. Okay. So let me switch over here. Okay. So let's go through the register API one more time. So now by using the Postman, we are sending the registration data like this, right? So first we check, is this username already present? If yes, we send the warning message. If no, we hashed the password and we saved it successfully into the database. Now next we are going to work with the login API. Now all our registered users are present in user table, correct, right? So on front end, later we will create one login form like this. From forms, we will collect the data. But form as of now is not ready. So that's why by using the Postman in the request body, manually we will give the login data. Okay. So now path will be /login/ because user wants to log into the application. The type of request will be post because user is submitting the login form. Okay. And this is the data which we will give in the request body. Username Priya123, password coders. So now what is the logic of login API? First, we will check is this user registered. We will allow user to log in. How? First, we will check is that user registered. How? We will check is this username Priya123 present in this user table. If it is present in user table, means user has registered already and trying to log in for my application. So we will check is this user registered. If no, we will send one message like user is not registered. If yes, we will check is password correct. First we will check username, then we will check is password correct. If yes, then we will successfully allow user to log in and we are going to send one JWT token as a response to the result to the user. So please understand this flow very carefully. What we are going to do? First, we will accept the data from the user, login data. We will check is this username already present in registered user table? If yes, means user has registered. Then we will check is password correct? If yes, means user successfully logged in and we will send one JWT token as a response. Now why token is required? Please have a patience. We'll discuss about it. Okay. So let's implement this particular logic. Okay. We'll go back to the VS Code. Let's start creating the login API. Login API. Okay. So app dot type of request will be post. Okay. And the path will be slash login slash. Okay. My bad. I missed the quotes over here. Slash login slash. And this is the handler function. Okay. Now we are going to accept the HTTP request and response as a parameters over here. Okay. So now in the request body, the data is coming. Okay. What data will come in the request body? Let me show you. Let's go to the Postman. User will request for slash login slash API. The type of request will be post as it is. And when user is trying to log in the login form, usually we give email field or password or username with password, phone number with password. That's all, right? So we will accept the username and the correct password from the user, which user wants to log in with. Okay. So if user has successfully registered, that registration username and password user has to use to log in and user will send the request. So now we have to collect this username and password from the request body. So go to the request body and collect. We'll destructure the object, username and password from the request body. Okay. So now what is our first task? Whatever the username user has used to log in, we will first check is that present in the user table. So first we will write the logic check user is registered or not. Check user is registered or not. How to check? We will simply execute one SQL query against the DB connection object. Get the user after executing this query. What is the query? Select everything from user table wherever username is equal to, in single quote, we have to give this username value. Username which is coming from the incoming request. So this is the username. See, I am trying to log in with the username Akash. So this Akash will come and sit into the variable username. So I am saying go to the user table and check is the username Akash already present in the user table. Check it out. So we'll use await and store that data into the variable found user. Okay, found user variable. A synchronous function will declare. So once we found the user in our user table, means user registered successfully, correct, right? So we will write the logic over here. If you found the user, means if a found user is not equal to undefined, then what to do? What is the meaning of this? Let's say you found one user with this username, means that user already registered. So that user details will come into this found user variable. So if found user variable is holding some data, okay, if it is not equal to undefined, then we will write the logic over here. Then we have to check the password also, correct, right? So password is already hashed. So we will write JWT, bcrypt dot compare method we will use. Compare the password which is present in this password variable. So I'll just write password variable. Okay. And the password which is present in found user variable. So what is the meaning of this? Let me just tell you. I'll just comment this lines first. See, in found user variable, what will come? I'll just print this found user variable in console. Found user variable. So what we are mentioning here, when user is trying to log in, take the username, check is that user registered or not. If yes, give that data in this variable. So now if I save this code, we'll go back to the postman. Now you tell me, is user with the username Akash present in our user table? Yes, right? So we'll send the request. We'll check the console now. Okay, we'll go to the console. Now in console, you can see I got the details of Akash. So that details will come in this found user variable. We found the user with the username Akash. So collect his details and save it into the variable found user. This is how it works. Okay. So now here I am mentioning, see this complete detail we found and it is present in found user variable. So now let me uncomment this. So now we are mentioning here, if a found user is not equal to undefined, means user is registered, then you check the password now. Password which user has used while login and the password which is present in this found user variable. So I'll just write it here. Go to the found user variable and take this password, this hashed password. So I'll just write it here, password. So the password which is present in the user table and the password which user is using to log in, check are they both same, compare them. If they both are same, await we have to use here, then return the result. Okay, result. So if they both are same, then true will be returned over here. So I'll just write if result is true, means passwords are correct. Okay, then response dot send. Here I'll just simply display one message, login success, login success. That's all. But if the passwords are incorrect, then I'll just write else response dot send passwords are incorrect. Password or incorrect password, like this we will write. Incorrect password. This message I am going to send as a response. Okay, that's all. So successfully we are checking whether user will log in or not by checking its password as well. So now one more condition we have to handle. See, we are checking if user found, means if user has registered, then we will execute this if block. But what if found user is undefined? If user has not registered and user is trying to log in, so that logic we will write it into else part. See, this is the complete if block. Now for this if, I will write else part. If user is not registered, response.send, I'm going to send one message like user is not registered. User is not. Just a minute. The shortcuts I have enabled. User is not registered. User with this username is not registered yet. Okay. So, and one more message I'll just write, login failed. Okay, login failed. Like this, we will send the response. So let's try it out with this complete login API. Okay, so I'll just go to my postman. Now I'm trying to log in to my application with this username and password, which I already have used to register. So I'm getting login success. But if I try to log in with the username, let's say, I'll take one username Ankit. Now Ankit I have not used before to register, right? Ankit has not registered for my application. I will send the request. So I am getting the message user with this username is not registered yet. So login failed. Okay. So now what I will do, again I will use Akash, but this time I will give wrong password. 124 I will give. So if I send the request, yes, user with this username is present in the database, but password is incorrect this time. So successfully we have implemented our login API as well. Okay. But now if you check the requirement, if I go back to my presentation, okay, let me just go to the slide show presentation mode. Okay. So now until now we are checking, is this user registered? If no, we send the warning message. If yes, we check the password. Is this password correct? If no, we send the incorrect or warning message. If yes, we are just displaying the message login success. But what I want to send JWT token as a response. It's same like, let's say you have taken admission for any school or college. The college will provide you ID card. Correct, right? So every day if you want to enter in your school or college, you have to just show that ID card. Correct, right? And you will be allowed. In the similar way, whoever will register for my application, whoever will log in successfully into my application, I will give one ID card to my users. So if they want to access the data of my application, if they want to use the services of my application, they have to just show ID card to my server. If they show the ID card and if ID card is valid, my server will give all the data to them. Okay. So let me show you how it works. This is our register API and this is our login API successfully we have created. So now what I want, all users should receive the JWT tokens after successfully login. This is what I want. So next what I will do, the users which has a JWT token. See, if user is trying to access all the books data from my table. So first, when user is sending this request to the server, first my server will check, is this user logged in? How server will check? Does the request contain JWT token? If user is sending JWT token along with request, then only we should allow user to access the data. If user does not have the token along with the request, then login is required to access the data. This message we will send to the user. So anyone cannot access my books API. They must log in to access my data. And when they will log in, then only they will get this token. And later they will use this token to access the data. So now this time along with request, if you send the JWT token, so yes, the book data will be returned as a response from this database. So I hope I'm clear with the logic, what logic we are going to follow. Okay, so let's try it out. Let's implement this. Okay, so I'll just go back to my VS Code. Okay, so after successfully login, we have to generate one token and we have to send it as a response. So at the beginning of the session, I told you how to generate the token. So let's generate it. Const one token I want to generate. How to generate? JWT.sign method will help you to generate the token. So now this token you want to generate for which user? So I'll declare one variable with the name, let's say payload variable. In this variable, I will take one key, let's say user key. With the username, this username I will give over here. Like this. Because I'm generating one token for the user who has successfully logged in. Who is that user? Akash is the username, which is unique. So I'm saying inside payload, I will load some data of the user, which I want to save inside the token. So I'm generating the token for this username Akash. So the first parameter I am going to pass as a payload, and second I need a secret key. So secret key I will give as a ABC. This developer has to decide the secret key. Okay, not client. Client, we will not share this secret key with the client. Never. It will be always remain with the server only. What is the use of secret key? I will show you by the end of this API. Okay. So now token is ready. So response.send, as a response, we will send this token to the user now. So after successfully registration, each user will receive one token, just like one ID card. Okay. So let's try it out. Let's test the API. Now Akash will log into my application with the correct password 123 I will write. I will send the request. So in return, I got one JWT token. So now if you copy this JWT token and if you go to the server, so let me go to the server. Okay. This one only, not server, sorry, browser. and paste your JWT token here. That's all. So you can see inside a token what data we have saved. User Akash I got. How come Akash I got? Because you have mentioned over here, create one token for username. And what is present in username? The username who has successfully logged in, which is nothing but Akash. So like this, you can check what in all the things are present in JWT token. So the token which created by server is there. That token has three parts. The first part will hold which algorithm it is using to generate the token. After this dot, this is the second part, inside which the user data is present, which we have loaded, payload is present. And the third part is all about the signature. By using this secret key ABC, it will create one signature. So that signature is present over here. Signature is just like one stamp. Like whenever we receive one post in our home, on that post, one stamp will be there. That post is valid. Okay, so like that, this signature is nothing but a stamp. This secret key will create this signature. It is like a stamp which defines the JWT token is a valid token. Okay, like that it is. So I'll show you more about this JWT next. Okay, so now what we have completed, this part we have completed. Now each user who will successfully log in, all the users will receive JWT token after successfully login. Okay, so now this we have to implement now. If user is trying to access books API, we have to first check whether user has logged in or not. Okay, so let's do that. So we have created one API, right? Slash show users slash. So if user is requesting for slash show users slash, so I will just write show users slash, and the type of request will be get. So now if I send the request, see, I'm getting all the users data who has successfully registered for my application. So this data I don't want to show to all users. Whoever will successfully register and log into my application, to them only I want to show this data. Okay. So for that purpose, what we can do, we have to give that restriction over here by using some extra part of the code. So let's complete it. But before that, what I will do, I will create one more API here. Let's say getBook API. Okay, so I'll just write getBook API. GetBook API will read all the data from the book table. But my question is, do we have a book table? We don't have it as of now. Okay, so we'll create it next. Okay, so I'll just write app.get. If user will enter the path slash, give me all books slash, then this handler function we have to execute. Okay. Okay. Inside this handler function, first we will pass the parameter request and response. Okay. So now against this DB, we'll get all the data against the query, select everything from book table. But book table we don't have, guys. Correct, right? So as of now, I'll just send one response message like will read all data from book table. Okay, or we will just write reading all data from book table. Why I have mentioned like this? Because first we have to create book table. As of now we don't have. So now let me try it out with this particular API. I'll go over here. What is the path? Slash books slash. So slash books slash will send the request. Now you can see I'm getting the response reading all data from book table. So whoever wants, they can read the data from my books table. It is not at all checking whether user has logged in, registered or not. So this I want to avoid. So what I will do, I will write one simple logic over here. Okay. If user want to access slash book slash, user has to send JWT token in the header. See, in the Postman, we have something called as auth. In auth, you have to select the auth type as a bearer token. And here we have to paste that JWT token when server will return you after successful login. Okay. So what we will do? We will again request for login API. We'll enter login. Type of request is post. Correct, right? We'll go to the body. Now Akash wants to log in. So we'll send the request. After successful login, Akash will get this JWT token. We'll copy the token now. So now we'll select the type of request get all the data from books table. Okay, but to get the data, we have to first make sure whether user has logged in or not. So what user has to do, once user will successfully log in the request header, paste the token. See that token I have pasted over here. Later I will expire that token. Just paste it over here. That's all. So now if you go to the headers, already you have the authorization key with this value. By default, it will be present. If it is not present, manually you just type it here in the key authorization, and as a value, you paste that JWT token along with the text bearer, BEARER, like this. You paste it, bearer space token. What you have to do? Let me show you one more time. I'll just remove this. BEARER, bearer space, then paste the JWT token. Don't hit enter. And as a key, you write it here as authorization. Like this, you add. But in my case, already it is present. So that's why I'll just disable it. This I don't want. Okay. Because I have it, I'll just delete this. If you don't have this authorization, then please go and add it over here. So now if you check, if you go to the auth, this is my JWT token, which I already have added in the headers. If you check, yeah. If you want to check what token is present, yeah, bearer and token is present. Okay. So now in authorization, in headers, we have an authorization key and here token is present. So now we'll go to the code and we will write one again simple logic. What is the logic? We'll create one function with the name, let's say auth headers. Okay. Now inside this function, in the request dot headers, user is sending authorization key, right? So we will go to the request dot headers and we will target the key authorization. So what value will come? That value we will store into the variable, let's say auth variable. On the next line, I'm going to print console.log auth. This value I'm going to print over here. So let's see how it works. So now middleware concept I'm going to use. Whenever we request for this API, immediately this handler function, it should not execute. Rather, it should execute first auth headers function. So I'm going to copy this and I'll paste it over here. The same logic which we have learned in the previous sessions, middleware. So like this, we can pass the function name. So whenever you request for /book/, it will not execute this. Request object will first go over here. Request and response we should write, and next request will come over here. From the request in the headers, authorization key will be targeted. Its value will come in this auth. It will print in the console, and then I will write go to the next function. Next function means this handler will be executed. So again I will repeat. If we request for /book/ and the type of request is get, then control will check, okay, /book/ type of request is get. But it won't execute this handler function. Rather, it will first call auth headers. Auth header function is present here. The request will come here. So I am saying go to the request target headers. Okay, go to the request target what? Headers. In the headers, we have an authorization key. What is the value of authorization key? Bearer and this token. So this bearer and token will come in auth, will print in the console and will jump to the next function. What is the next function? This. And you will be getting the response as reading all data from book table. So let's try it out. I will save the code. I'll send the request. Okay. So yeah. So I'll just check the body. See, I'm getting response as reading data from book table. But if you check the console, let me show you the console. Yeah. In console, I got bearer and token. So what is present in this auth variable? Whenever we are sending the request for slash book slash, first request will go to this middleware function. From the request, it will go to the headers and value of authorization key is bearer, and this token will come to this variable. We are printing it here on the console, and the next method will be called, which is nothing but this method. And this method is printing reading all data from book table. So now, before we send the control to the next function, we have to check, is this token valid or not? If token is valid, means user has successfully logged in. Then only we will allow user to read the data from the book table. Okay. So how to check this token is valid or not? Let's understand. Okay. Directly we will not allow user to go to the next function. Next function means this handler function will not be executed to return the data to the user. First, we will check token is valid or not. So I'll declare one variable token. So we'll go to this auth. Okay, in that auth, actually we have the string like this, in which bearer is present and our complete token is present like this. So what I will do, this whatever is present in auth, the string value, I will use split method and split it wherever space is present and give me the first index value. So what will happen in auth? What is present? In auth, this string is present, bearer, like this, and one authentication, JWT token is present like this. So I am saying whatever is present in auth, the string value, you split it, convert it into list wherever space is present. Like this, the code we have written. So what is the output of this code? The output is, it will create one list like this, and the first element of list will be bearer like this, and the second element will be this complete token. This complete token will come over here. Okay. So now I am saying from this list, I don't want this bearer 0th index value. I want first index value. First index value means token. That token will come into this variable. So successfully from the header, we are fetching the complete token. So I am saying from this list, give me the first index value. So this token will come into this variable. Okay, so now I have to check whether this token is valid or not. So I'll just write result variable. So JWT dot verify the token. Which token? Whichever the token is present in this token variable against the secret key. What is the secret key? ABC was our secret key, correct, right? Against this secret key. So if the tokens are valid, then the result will be returned into this result variable. So on the next line, I will write if. So what I'll do, I'll first print this result, console.log, print the result variable. Okay. Let's see if the tokens are valid, what it returns in the console. Okay. So I'll just go over here in the console. Server, yes, our server is already running. We'll go back to the postman and we'll send the request. Yeah. So we have sent the request. Now if I come back, see, I'm getting the data. Okay. Why I'm getting the data? Because let me check if we request for slash book slash control will come here. Okay. And just a minute, I guess this is the output of previous code. Yeah. So I'll just clear this. Actually, we have to wrap it into try block. Then we will start the server one more time. Let me start it. Yeah. So I will go over here and yeah, we got error, correct, right? So I'll just send the request. I'll come back over here. So we are getting this data. Okay, correct. So now we are checking, is this token valid? Yes, this token is valid, correct, right? This token is Akash token, correct? Akash successfully logged in. He got the JWT token and now he wants to access books data. So Akash is saying, I already have logged in. I have the token. I am sending in the headers. You check, is it valid against this secret key? Yes. So in the result, the complete payload we got it, and this is issued at. When this token got issued, that timestamp will be present. So yes, this token is for user Akash. Okay. So yes, in the result, it will return the payload and the issued at. So now what we will do? We'll use the try and catch block. Okay, you verify this, but first we'll give this logic and try block. You verify it and check is there any error. If there is no error, JWT.verify the token, and at the time of verification, if you successfully complete, if there is no issue, then what we will do, we'll call the next function we will call, means this will be executed. But else, if some error is there at the time of verification, so we will write response.send token verification failed. Sorry, not else, catch block. Catch block error object will accept here. So here we will just write token verification failed. Okay, like this, token verification failed. That's all. So now one more condition we have to handle, which is nothing but empty header. Let's say user has not sent authorization key only, nothing is present in the header. So that also we have to write. Okay, so I'll just write the logic over here. Okay, if whatever is present in auth, if it is equal to undefined, if nothing is present in the auth, then send one error message. So I'll just write response.send token is required, token is required to access book data. So go and log in first to get the data, to get the token. Sorry, to get the token. Yeah, this error message I will pass. Else, in the else part, I'm going to give all this logic. What logic? See this logic. Try and catch block everything I'm going to give in else part. Okay, so we'll go to the else part. I'll paste this code. Done. So this is my auth headers logic. So let me show you how it works. So we'll go over here. I'm trying to access the books data. I will send the request. Okay. So yes, successfully I am able to read the book data. Why? Because in the headers, I'm Akash. I already have logged in. I'm sending the token. But let's say Akash has not logged in. Okay. Or Akash is sending some wrong token. I will go over here. Okay. This is a token, right? I will remove everything from here. Okay. Now Akash is not sending any token. Okay. In the headers, see, in the headers nothing is present. Okay, and Akash will send the request. So Akash is getting the error, token is required to access the book data. So go and log in first to get the token. Actually Akash has the token, so Akash will go first to the login API. See, I will go first to the login API. Type of request is post. In the request body, login credentials we will give, will send the request. Yeah, successfully we got the token. So I will copy the token. Now I want to get all the data from my book table. I want to read all the data from book table. But directly if I send the request, it is saying give me the token. Okay, token we are sending into headers to the authorization key. So manually you can add the authorization key over here. See, the key name is authorization and its value I am going to pass over here with BEARER, bearer, and paste the value. Like this you can write it manually also, not an issue. So now Akash successfully gave the token along with the bearer in the authorization key in the header. So now we'll send the request. Now successfully he is able to read the data. Let's say what Akash did, he sent the wrong token. Some wrong token he is sending. So now if he sends, see, it is telling token verification failed. So successfully we are giving the access of our data to those users who has this token with them. Okay. So now before we, whenever user will request for /book/, we are mentioning first go and check is that user logged in or not. Then only use or execute this. So inside this, we will write our complete query, select everything from book table. Okay, all that part we can cover. So let's quickly understand what is this token and how it works. Okay. So now we have a secret key also, right? So the secret keys actually works like this. See, this is the client, right? So after successful login, server needs to generate the token. So to generate the token, server needs three things. One is header. Next, payload means the data which we want to save inside the token, like we sent user or payload we have sent, right? And then the secret key. By using this secret key, server will generate one signature. So this header plus payload plus signature, all three will be combined and one token will be sent to the user. So that's why in the token, 3 parts were there separated by dot. First part header dot, second part payload dot, third part signature generated by server by using that secret key. Correct? Next time when you are asking, give me the book data. So along with the request in the headers, you are sending the token. So server will accept the token. Now from the token, server will take the header and payload. And server knows the secret key, right? So server will use that secret key. As a developer, we have to mention it in the code ABC, this secret key. Okay. Now server will again generate one signature by using this secret key. And the signature which client has sent in the token and the signature just now which server has created by using this secret key. If they both match, server will send the data to you because the key is valid. So these two signatures will be compared. This is how your tokens works at the server side, and this is how the tokens will be generated and sent to you. Okay, so this is all about your JWT token. So now in the notes, I have given everything. If you go through the notes, let me open this. So first I have given the definition of JWT token, 3 parts, headers, payload, signature. What is signature? Just now I have explained. What was the goal? This was the goal. We achieved steps to achieve this goal. First we created registration API, then login API. Then finally we made sure each successfully logged in user finally should get the JWT token. Okay. So the users who has the token, they will get the access, or they can only use the services for our application. So here you will be getting the complete code which I have typed inside my index.js. So let me paste that code over here. I'll just change the font size, style, underline also I don't want. So I'll go over here in the index.js, whatever I have, I'll just copy and I'm going to, let me change this font size. Underline I don't want, black color, and let me align it properly. I'll paste it. Yeah. So this is the code you will be getting. Okay. So please go through it. Along with that, all the presentation slides, screenshots I have given over here. So yeah. So now in the next session, we are going to again continue this JWT token, but the database I'm going to replace with the MongoDB, and actual data I'm going to save. Okay. So this is actually the fourth video of our Node.js playlist, right? Almost a part we have completed in this. Now in the fifth video, complete backend we are going to build by using MongoDB along with the authentication by using this JWT. So MongoDB uses MVT architecture where we will be having the different models, controllers. Okay, so many things comes into the picture in the next video which we are going to explore. So I hope I'm clear with all those points. We'll meet in the next video with the Node.js and MongoDB. Until then, go through these slides. Also, I'm going to attach some interview practice questions also. Please go through it. So we'll meet in the next video. This is all about this session. Thank you everyone and wish you all the best to all. Thank you.